Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and thanks for joining if you're new. This is the weekly video journal update for my 5 composting bins. Before I get into what's happening with the bins, I do want to note I've gotten a few comments regarding the Vermi bags, and another commenter stated that the Vermi bags are no longer in production. So you would have to look up what is the next best thing if you were looking for a Vermi bag system, because unfortunately they're not available. You might be able to find them secondhand, but that's a risk you would have to take. For this particular regular tote that I have this week, I am giving all the bins larger chunks of food just to see how it affects them. But overall, this bin looks great, doing better than it's ever done, and the castings feel really good. In the second regular tote that I have, which is the trash bin style, I'm still going pretty slowly. Really, I'm going slowly with all of my bins, adding in the material. Normally, I do add quite a bit of material. This material is wetter and a bit clumpier and stickier than its sister bin, but it still looks very good. So for this week, not much change is going to happen in what I'm doing with either of my regular totes, besides the fact that I am putting one large piece of food in just to see how the worms tolerate that feeding and how it affects moisture levels, whether I get any additional pests in the bin either. And once I put the food in, I finish it off with grit. The grit is a mixture of diatomaceous earth, eggshells, and neem cake because I do have pests, but it seems that I only have pests in my Vermi bag mini. And then once I take care of wetting down the cardboard itself, this bin is set up for the following week. For this cycle of my castings, with the Vermi bag totes, I am having a problem with the moisture settling to the bottom. I do tend to have drier Vermi bag totes versus regular totes, and this summer it's been the driest that it's ever been. It was dry in the winter and tends to be dry in the winter, but I typically don't deal with a lot of dryness in the summertime. So for this one, which I'm concerned that the colony was like headed downward because it was dry, I am making sure that I add moisture to this bin. Even though the castings at the bottom are wet, I want to make sure it is thoroughly saturated every week so I don't have the same problem that happened with the second one. I don't want to deal with the colony collapse. I felt awful about losing that worm colony, so I do focus a lot on maintaining my water levels in all of my bins. Like I said, I've been surprised by the regular totes because they've been running really great, and I might try the larger cardboard process in my other regular tote. I don't really think I could do that in the Vermi bag tote just the way that the bin itself is, but that'll be something that I can try once I get both colonies stabilized again. In the second colony, I see a ton of juvenile worms and small wisps. So that lets me know that the experiment with the breeder bin was a success. It is slow going though to build the colony back, and even after so long, I still don't have the colony where I want it to go. It definitely would have been easier for me to go ahead and purchase some worms and just throw them in, but I was purposely trying to see how long it would actually take to build the colony back. And thank you to everyone that suggested trying the breeder bin because it was the fastest way to build the colony. With this bin, just like its sister bin, it is very dry at the top and a lot of the moisture is at the bottom. So I do get in there and mix it in very gently and make sure that all areas are wet, and the bubble wrap does help keep some of the moisture in. My last and final bag is the Vermi bag mini, and I did have some beetles show up again. I was scraping that off of the lid. This is the only bin where I deal with the beetles in here, and it's funny because all of the bins are right together in a row. They're not in different rooms. They just are attracted to this bin. And I had someone suggest that they are attracted to the moisture, but I would think I would have them also in my more wetter totes, like my regular totes, and I don't. I know this may be a risk, but I am going to put quite a bit of food in and quite a bit of moisture into this bag this week, and I'll see how that affects me next week. But that's the update for this week on the bins. Thank you so much if you stuck to the end with me. I always do thank you for watching, and until next week.